We live in an era of severe information overload and media clutter. To survive this constant barrage of messaging, consumers have adopted intense skepticism as their baseline cognitive defense mechanism. When a company tries to break through this armor using bulleted lists of product features or corporate facts, it triggers an immediate reflex. The audience instinctively starts counter-arguing, actively looking for reasons to reject the pitch. The solution to this blockade is what we call a signature story. This is an engineered narrative asset, meticulously designed to deliver a strategic message while bypassing those cognitive defenses. When information is wrapped in a narrative, it naturally lowers the listener's guard. The human brain becomes so engaged in tracking the flow of the plot that the impulse to scrutinize and counter-argue simply falls away. This creates the necessary space for self-discovery. Instead of being lectured on a company's values, the audience connects the dots and deduces the underlying logic themselves, a process that makes the resulting belief far more persuasive. This chart visualizes a Stanford University memory study comparing retention rates. When participants heard a presentation built on raw statistics, only 5% could recall them later. But when that exact same data was formed into a story, recall skyrocketed to 63%. Alongside that massive memory boost is a psychological phenomenon called affect transfer. The positive feelings generated by an engaging plot or an empathetic character are permanently reassigned to the brand that delivered the tale. Mastering this psychological loophole provides a way to plant a message that is both more likely to be remembered and less likely to be rejected in a hostile, oversaturated environment. Effective narratives cannot be fabricated in a marketing meeting. They must be harvested from genuine corporate history, starting with the spontaneous initiative of frontline employees. In the mid-1970s, a customer walked into a Nordstrom store in Alaska and asked for a refund on 2 heavily worn snow tires. Nordstrom was a clothing retailer. They didn't even sell tires. Yet the clerk cheerfully took the items and handed the man a full cash refund, proving a radical customer-first culture in a way no mission statement ever could. Other powerful narratives are mined from founder histories, where early near-ruinous financial sacrifices are used to solidify modern brand guarantees. In 1912, Leon L. Bean stitched lightweight leather tops to waterproof rubber bottoms and sold his first batch of 100 hunting shoes. But the design was flawed, and 90 pairs leaked. He refunded every several customer, nearly bankrupting himself, to establish a heritage of absolute quality that still defines his company today. Then there are heritage events, singular, drastic actions that permanently rewrite a company's internal culture and external perception. In 1985, after finding a 20% defect rate in his inventory, the CEO of the Chinese appliance maker Haier lined up 76 dud refrigerators on the floor. He handed a sledgehammer to his employees and ordered them to smash the units to pieces, instantly mandating an absolute standard for quality control. These raw historical events provide the concrete evidence needed to ground abstract promises in reality. A raw corporate anecdote only becomes a functional signature story when it is explicitly engineered with specific architectural elements. First, it requires an empathetic character facing a meaningful, non-commercial obstacle. If the problem is simply how to get clothes clean, the audience tunes out. The challenge has to carry real human weight. Next, the story must contain vivid visual imagery. This triggers narrative transportation, a physical state where the listener's brain maps the experience, moving them out of their current reality and deep into the scene. Crucially, the blueprint requires surprise or narrative tension. A sudden twist or a high-stakes decision disrupts the brain's pattern recognition, stopping the audience from filtering the message out as standard marketing noise. Stripping away any of these structural elements instantly downgrades the strategic asset back into an easily ignorable corporate fact. Once deployed, these assets have a critical vulnerability. Even the most perfectly engineered stories will naturally degrade and disappear if they are not actively maintained by the organization. Top brands solve this through physical monumentation. LL Bean keeps a giant replica of their original hunting boot outside their headquarters, and Haier displays the actual sledgehammer from the factory floor, keeping the narrative physically present for every employee and visitor. Meanwhile, other companies rely on temporal monumentation, leveraging major corporate anniversaries to force a cultural refresh of their foundational narrative. Apple continually looks back to its early hardware launches, like the 30th anniversary of the original Macintosh, to reaffirm its identity. Retelling the story of that rogue innovation allows them to pitch their rebel ethos to entirely new generations of consumers. The signature story functions as a long-term strategic asset, a bridge that helps messages reach the audience despite the high barrier of modern consumer skepticism.